Hey y'all, hi, good morning. I am trying my hand at some vlogging. I really want to push through with finishing setting up my little office in this house. So I decided to dedicate this entire day just to finishing my office, and I decided to vlog it. This actually isn't my office. This is a little uninsulated side room on the house. It's kind of like a 2 or 3 seasons porch that we're kind of using as like an art porch or a reading porch. And I'm out here because I was ready to start the vlog. I was ready to start talking to you and talking you through my office and telling you what I'm planning to do. But Joe is on the phone in his office, which is right next to my office. He's having a long, loud conversation with somebody. It's, I think, to do with setting up the business, and there's kind of no end in sight. So I've been tinkering, doing things. I worked on my rug for a little while because I'm starting to learn to tuft rugs, and I thought you guys would enjoy seeing me work on it. But I finished doing what I needed to do today, which was just like filling in some empty gaps and then putting the adhesive on the back to fix the tufts in place. The conversation's still going, and I was like, I'm just gonna start the vlog down here. If this is your first time to my channel, then welcome. My name is Hannah. I make a lot of beauty content, but I also really enjoy fashion and other kinds of design, and I'm hoping to branch out into a little bit of this kind of content. So if you enjoy this and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. If you are a subscriber and you enjoy this, definitely let me know in a comment, or at the very least by giving the video a thumbs up. And now let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. So because Joe is on the phone and I'm not actually up there right now with the camera, I'm just going to talk through what needs to be done in the office, and I will roll some footage that I took of the office first thing this morning, the way that it was this morning and the way that it has been for days. It's a cute little room. I already have a beautiful rug that was like a big investment for me, and it's like the main thing that's making the office itself, that's giving it character. But now that the rug is in, I feel like there are all these little things that I can do to finish the space and make it perfect for me. One of the walls is all messed up. It used to have a TV mount, like this huge heavy TV monitor mount screwed into it, and I removed that a couple of days ago, and it left behind all of these holes and scratches in the paint. So I need to fill in those holes, sand down the filler, and then I think I'm going to paint that wall, not with the house paint that belongs to the house, that is the color of the wall, but actually with my sample pot of Sulking Room pink. The second thing on my list is to replace the floor lamp that's in there. So the floor lamp that's in there is really cool. It's like a giant oversized version of a little desk lamp. I've had it for a really long time, maybe 10 years. It's not actually very well made. It's kind of a piece of junk actually, and it's barely holding itself together. It's totally loose in its base, and it's really big and top heavy. There's no way to position it elegantly, and I just don't want it in my office anymore. I'll probably put it somewhere else in the house where it's less of a centerpiece, because it does still give beautiful light. But I want my office to be a sanctuary where everything is clean, calm, cozy, colorful, and I just don't feel like that lamp fits the bill anymore. I've actually already gotten something to replace it, not a regular floor lamp, but a sun lamp. And I went ahead and put it together this morning. I'll show you the footage now. I've been living in LA for several years, and I haven't felt like I've needed a sun lamp or a sad lamp, but the last time I lived in a climate like this, I had one. I used it every day, and it made a huge difference to me. When we left Michigan, I gave it away to a friend who was still going to be living in Michigan because I didn't think I would need it in California, and I knew that it was one of the things I was going to have to buy as soon as we got here. So this time I opted for a pretty elegant looking standing floor lamp. I feel like it fits aesthetically with what I want the office to feel like. Again, colorful, bright, and cozy, but also very clean and spacious. It looks modern. It's not an eyesore. It doesn't look like a medical device, even though it kind of is. And it's occupying the space that the old floor lamp was occupying before, but it takes up less space and it looks less cluttered, and it's positioned in a way where I can use it when I'm sitting at the desk or sitting in my chair. And then I think the rest is going to be pretty easy finishing touches. I have these gauze curtains that I used to have in my office when we lived in Ann Arbor when I was in graduate school. I think that they're in a box somewhere, but I don't know where. So that's going to be a project, going through all of the unopened boxes that are likely culprits, trying to find those curtains and putting them up on the curtain rods in the office. I need to choose which of our pieces of art I'm going to hang on the walls in there and hang the art on the walls. And then if I have time, I may go out and try to get a plant to finish the office, because I think that a plant would really like it in there and I would really like having a plant in there. We just moved into this house a couple of weeks ago and pretty much none of the rooms are unpacked. There are boxes everywhere, and the reason that I'm focusing on my office so hard and first is that I use it a lot. I really depend on it as a little sanctuary. And to kind of show you the way that I use the space, I filmed myself this morning. I got a little cup of coffee, which is what I usually do first thing, and then I immediately sat down at my desk, got out my supplies for writing in my paper planner, and I did some planning. And I wrote down the list of the things that I'm planning to do in my office. I wrote down the other things that I wanted to do today, like meditate, do a little bit of exercise, just gave myself a bit of an approachable to-do list for this day. Then I put together the sun lamp, and then I did my meditation in the chair with the sun lamp, which I think is definitely going to work. It was kind of like a test drive for that setup, and I think it's going to be great. After that, I did a little bit of exercise, put myself together a little bit. My bangs are way too long. They're driving me crazy, so I just got them out of my face today. I need to trim them, but it's probably not something I'm gonna be able to do today. I put on this, which is actually something that I bought recently. Hold on, I'll try to give you a full body shot. I have always wanted one of these, and I've been concerned about buying one online because I have a really long torso and a really long waist. So this kind of thing usually is like all up in my business and doesn't fit well in the torso. I found this one. It's been on my wish list for like a year, and I've considered a bunch of them and I've never taken the plunge. This one was on Free People, and you can always trust Free People to make things really oversized and like really low in the crotch area. So I was like, maybe that one will work. And it will definitely work. I mean, it's definitely oversized on me. I got a medium and I actually could definitely have gotten a small and it would have fit fine. But I don't mind the super slouchy fit. I could even wear it over other clothes, which I think is kind of like the point of this kind of thing. And I'm feeling just like really comfortable, really myself, capable of taking on things like tufting and painting, but also not unstylish. Hi. So immediately I ran into a problem, which is that we don't have any hole filling putty for the wall. I thought that we had some in our tools, but we don't. So I'm gonna need to run out and get some, and I might be able to get a plant depending on where I go. Also, depending on which direction I go in, I might want to get another sample pot of Sulking Room Pink. I'm hoping that it will cover the whole wall, but I'm not totally sure that it will. We'll see. I got the putty. I filled in the holes on the wall. You can barely see them from this distance. It's really worked, but I'm concerned that I don't have enough Sulking Room Pink. I've kind of chickened out about painting today. And I also found the exact paint that's on all of the walls of the house in the basement of the house. So I think that I'm going to go ahead and just paint over the puttied holes and repair that part of the wall. So I'm a little bit worried that the new repair patch won't blend in perfectly with the old paint that's been on the walls for a long time. I'm hoping that even if you can tell the difference, it won't be that bad, or I can just hang a piece of art over that spot. So I'm gonna go ahead and make that repair, and then we'll move on to the next part of the project. Okay, I don't know how well you'll be able to see because there are all of these bits of shadow and light reflecting off the wall, but it looks like I'm gonna have to do a second coat, at least on part of it, because there was some really dark marks under there. So I'm gonna let it dry completely. There's also a hole near the floor that I forgot to fill in. So I'm gonna have to revisit this wall. And while it's drying, I'm going to go dig through some boxes and try to find my old gauze curtains that I had in my old office in Michigan. So I found a bunch of my old sewing stuff, which is really fun. For about 10 years, up until the start of the pandemic, I owned and ran a small business making clothes for tango dancers. And when we closed the business, I got rid of a lot of stuff, but I kept a small box of fabric and a bunch of tools, and they've been in deep storage this entire time. So it's kind of fun to come across them, but I can't remember if I kept the fabric that I had used for those curtains or not. And even if I did keep it, it might not be in this box. Okay, there's good news and there's bad news. The good news is that this fabric is not infested with moths. I've been really afraid I would come across some moths when I was discovering my art supplies, especially fabric and yarn, but there are no moths in here. And the bad news is the gauze curtains aren't here. And gosh, even if I can't find them, I could make curtains from some of this fabric. There probably isn't enough of this. I've always thought that this would make really pretty curtains. Probably isn't enough of this either. Look at this. This is one of my favorite fabrics that I ever bought. It's silk, and it has these beautiful like gunmetal sequins on it. In theory, I could kind of create some makeshift curtains out of this, and they would be pretty amazing. Let's see how much there is. Yeah, there's probably enough. I'm gonna take it upstairs just in case. This is an incredible fabric that I don't even remember buying. I think I must have bought it right before we closed the business. It feels like a really hefty, like either silk twill or maybe even like a poly, like a faux silk. There's definitely enough of it. I'll take it upstairs too, just in case. It would be a lot with the rug. The paint has blended seamlessly into the wall as it's dried, even though it's like I think the can is like 10 years old. So that's great because it's not gonna make like a patch. And you know, the light again is so variated. And again, the light is so kind of dappled and patchy in here that it's not as though there's going to be a spotlight on that wall and you're going to be able to see every flaw. I couldn't find my old gauze curtains. They weren't really curtains. It was just these pieces of like ombre gauze silk that I had just fashioned into curtains by folding it over and sewing a line. I feel like there's a chance I might have like gotten rid of them just in a passion of trying to clear out as much stuff as possible the last time we packed up. But I really loved the fabric. I would be surprised if I had done that. I think that there's a better chance that they are somewhere. They just weren't with the fabric. They're like packed in a random place, and I'll uncover them randomly someday. And for the time being, I might try to hang one of these crazy fabrics as curtains. But first, I'm going to finish the project with the wall and get all of the paint stuff cleared out of here so that I can really like do all of the finishing touches. Okay, I'm going to vacuum. I'm gonna get the corpse of this lamp out of here, the old lamp, the one that's barely holding itself together. It actually isn't even really holding itself together. When I moved it this morning, the base fell off and I'm not sure we'll even be able to put it back on. But I'm gonna just get it out of here and kind of just like reset so that I can start making decisions about artwork and curtains. I'm not really feeling this. I feel like this fabric is beautiful in a garment, or it would be beautiful as a garment because the repetition would be kind of broken up, but as a curtain, as like a solid block, it just looks more geometric than I think I would have wanted. And I mean, look at the rug. It's just not it. And I think it also blocks more light than I would want. This stuff would actually be amazing as curtains, but I actually don't have enough for 2 curtains to go all the way to the floor. So this is what the fabric looks like up close, but then it's so sheer that as a curtain, it's like that. This does kind of mimic actually the gauze that I had before, the thing that I can't find. It was a lot like this. It's just sort of like a dark semi-sheer window covering. But I think that the key for something like this, it goes all the way to the floor and it makes the room feel kind of more spacious. And I don't think I can do that with this sequin fabric. So this is really not going as planned. I thought that I was going to paint the wall and find my gauze curtains and hang them up, and there was going to be like a dramatic transformation in the room. I'm not sure that I'm going to accomplish either of those things today, but what I will do is go ahead and pick some art to hang, and I might cast around the house and see if I can find anything else that would serve as a curtain. We're still like half in, half out of boxes, so you kind of never know what's going to turn up. Y'all, this is so sad. Guess what happened to me? I went back down to the basement and I went through every single box because I was just determined. Once I was in here and I was thinking about how great it would be if I could see those curtains, if I could find them and hang them, I was like, I'm just gonna try one more time. So I opened every box and I thought that I had found them because I was digging through one of the boxes and I touched the fabric. This is it. And I was like, yay, I found them, and I pulled it out. And then I realized that it doesn't have the fold over, it's not curtains. Like I had taken two big panels of this, folded it over and sewn it and made it into curtains. And this isn't that. This must be like a third piece of the fabric that was left over that I didn't make into curtains. So I'm starting increasingly to think that I might have actually either accidentally or in a moment of foolishness gotten rid of them when I was clearing out all of like the extra fabric and stuff from our business. And this might be the only piece left. Sorry, I got cut off because the camera battery died. Anyway, it's not enough to make 2 curtains. I think I need to really and truly give up trying to find the curtains and go ahead and pick art for this room so that I can at least do something to improve the office, because that's what I was supposed to be doing today. And so far all I've accomplished is to fill the holes on this wall and paint over them with the same color paint. Okay, I got a couple of pieces of art up, but other than that, I'm kind of struggling to commit. I feel like there's probably room for more art. There are a couple of other contenders, but I think that I've just run out of steam, and it's turned out to be more difficult both logistically and like mentally, emotionally to complete this task than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was just gonna like knock everything out, but it's actually more of a process than just like a one-day project. So I think what I'm going to do is sleep on a couple of things and finish this process tomorrow. So hopefully this vlog will end up spanning 2 days, and hopefully by the end of the video, you'll be able to see the finished product. Hey y'all, hi. So it's a couple of days later. It's the day after I filmed the first part of the vlog. Yesterday, I didn't film anything to add to the vlog, but I did make some progress. I went to a fabric store and I found some fabric to use for curtains. Just like this, all folded up. It probably doesn't look as glorious as I think it's going to look, but it's a very lightweight cotton lawn. So it's this lovely silky drapey fabric, but it's definitely going to be semi-sheer when the light is coming through it. I wanted something that could feel warm and cozy and make the space feel kind of like a blanket wrapped around me, but that would also not be smothering like velvet or something. I wanted something that wouldn't feel like a winter fabric, but that wasn't going to be like light and airy in terms of color. And so I feel like this cotton lawn is the perfect happy medium, because color-wise, it's got that depth and coziness, but fabric-wise, it's got that light, airy, summery quality. I got an amazing deal on it. It was on super sale. I got 6 yards, which is definitely going to be enough to make a single wide curtain for each of the 2 windows. I'm gonna do that today. And I sorted out my thoughts and feelings about painting. So the thing that was giving me pause, there were a couple of things giving me pause about painting the one wall. One is that we're renting here, so we're going to have to reset the walls and everything in the house before we leave when we move out. So I'm going to have to paint it back, and I was a little bit nervous about painting it, knowing that at some point I would have to paint it back to look exactly like this. But seeing how much of the house paint there is in the house, like that can that I was using to touch up the wall is half full, and seeing how good that paint is and that it went on beautifully and it blended in perfectly and it's definitely still good paint, that has emboldened me, because I feel confident that I'll be able to paint over whatever I do before we move out, and that it'll be exactly like it is now when we leave here. And then the other thing that was making me hesitate was that my plan was to take the little can of Sulking Room pink that I had left over from swatching in the basement and paint this wall. But I feel pretty confident that there's not enough of that paint to paint this wall, and I was afraid to start and then like run out of paint and have it be half painted, and then I would have to go all the way back to Farrow and Ball, which is kind of far away. So those 2 things combined caused me to chicken out the day before yesterday. But when I was at the hardware store getting the putty, I picked out another paint, and it's this paint. It's a Valspar color called Stormy Plum, and it's kind of similar. I know that the lighting doesn't make it look similar, similar, but in its own way, it's kind of similar to the curtain color. It's definitely in the same family. We're going for this like smoky terracotta rose theme in the room. So today we're gonna do the wall, we're gonna do the curtains, and I also had a little aha moment about art. I was kind of struggling to figure out what I wanted to hang in here, and at the same time I've been finishing step by step my first rug, my first tufting project. I think that once the rug is done, which if I have time I'll also do today, I'm gonna hang it on the wall. I think that it'll look amazing against this like rich, deep color. I need to give it a little bit of time to dry. So I'm gonna give it half an hour just to make sure it's super dry before I go on with another coat. And I'm going to get my sewing machine out and find a place to set it up so that I'll be able to do that one little seam that I need to do on the curtains to be able to hang them today. I found it. So this is the straight stitch sewing machine. I have a couple of machines from when we had the clothing business, and this is just the most normal one. It just sews a single line. That's all that I need today. Hello, old friend. It's so strange and amazing to see this again. We packed it up when we packed up the entire studio back within like the first month of the pandemic. I don't really have anything else, right? Like I found the machine, I found some thread, which I think is probably the closest color that I have to the curtain fabric. It doesn't have to be an exact match. And I don't really know where my bobbins are or anything else. So I'm just going to wind some of this thread onto the bobbin that was in the machine that has white thread on it, because I'm not going to need very much. If you're unfamiliar with sewing machines, you need thread that comes from the top and you also need thread that comes from the bottom, and the needle pokes through the fabric and ties the threads together basically to make a stitch. Because it's such a fine fabric, cotton lawn is like a really, really lovely, almost silky kind of cotton. Because that is the case, I don't feel like I need to hem the curtains all the way around, because it will tear in a really clean and perfect way, and it will make this beautiful frayed edge, like a clean, soft frayed edge. So this is the way that the edge looks from the woman who cut the fabric for me at the fabric store, having torn it. So I'm going to tear the length that I need, and then I'm going to just fold it over a little bit and sew it along the edge so that I can put it on the curtain rod. And then I'm also going to tear the selvage off of the edges all the way down, and that's it. That's how I'm gonna make the curtains. I'm just going to tear the fabric in half, and then each curtain will be like probably 2 feet longer than it needs to be, but that's okay, because then I can hang them both up, and then I can just tear the bottoms where I want them to end once they're hung up, and I can really see how they're gonna look, because I don't want to accidentally make them too short, because you can't make curtains longer. I mean, in theory you can, but it's much more difficult than making them shorter, especially when you're doing it with this just tearing the edges method. So the last thing I want to do is make them too short. I would rather make them much, much longer than they need to be, and then scale it back. So here is the halfway point of the fabric. I'm just making a little cut with scissors to get it started. Great. I'm going to tear the selvage off of these first, tearing the edges off in long strips down the sides. So I'm doing the same thing, making a little cut with my scissors to get it started, and then just tearing. So I'm gonna go hang these up, and then once they're up, I'll be able to gauge the length, I'll be able to tear off the bottom, and then I'll go around and trim off any little extra threads that are hanging off of them. And I think that I have a steamer around here somewhere, even though we don't have an ironing board set up. And so if there are any wrinkles or creases, I'll hopefully be able to steam them out using the steamer. The room has been completely transformed. I know that you can't see anything right now. I'll make sure to give you some good footage soon, but in this moment, I'm just saying, wow, the paint and the curtains together have really done it for me. There are some horrible overhead lights. I'm gonna turn them on. They're horrible in a number of ways. Probably the worst thing that they do is is to buzz. So I'm not going to be using them when I'm in here, but I'll leave them on for now just so you'll be able to see better while I finish with the curtains. So I have to decide about the length, and I'm kind of tempted to just keep it like this, even though there's like 3 feet of extra fabric on the floor, because I really like long curtains. I like it when curtains touch the floor. And the longer I leave them, the more grace I'll have if I ever decide to repurpose this fabric, or if I want to like finish them at some point or put them on different windows or something. But I think that this is a bridge too far, this like huge amount of fabric pooling at the bottom. At least for this space, I want it to feel a little bit airier than that. Yeah, I'm gonna start with here. Yeah, I think that's perfect. They're touching just enough to make it feel cozy. And there's definitely enough fabrics that if I decide to hem them or something, even if I decide to totally redo the top and hem the bottom, they would still touch the floor. Things have gotten pretty chaotic, obviously, in here, but I'm just gonna give you like a quick sweep of the room so you can see how different it's feeling. It's still wet, so it certainly looks patchy right now because some parts are drier than others. I have a feeling that even after it all is dry, it's still not gonna look totally even, but I'm definitely not up for putting on another coat. And it's not as though it's like going to be a wall that's heavily featured in the home. It's just, for me, it's just to add a little warmth and coziness to this room, and I don't mind the imperfection. I'm going to clean up. It's just, I've got the paint things that I need to clean. There are a bunch of pieces of this project strewn around the office. There might not be time today. Well, there might be time today for me to finish the rug, but I don't think there's enough daylight left for me to finish the rug, hang it, and then take footage. So it might be that the footage of the finished product is footage that I take tomorrow, but I'll check in with you when I've gotten to the end of what I'm gonna be able to do today in the office. Okay, things are feeling extremely satisfactory in here, extremely cozy. And I just remember that there's one more thing that I was planning to do as part of this, which is to get another cushion for my chair. So I have these cushions, they're actually made out of old carpets, and they have a lot of the same warm tones, warm earth tones, and kind of like warm, colorful tones that are in the carpet that I have in here and in these colors that I've brought in with the wall and the curtains. So I'm going to go pick 1 or 2 of those to use instead of this bolster in the chair, which just doesn't really fit in the chair anyway, and I've just been using it because I needed something. Here's where we're at for the end of the day. I'm really happy with the wall color. I'm really happy with the curtains. I actually don't even feel the need to steam them. I feel like whatever wrinkles there are going to fall out of them. I don't see any serious creases. And you know, I want the cotton to look like natural and not pristine and like it needs to be kept perfectly pressed all the time. I feel like it's really transformed today and it's really coming together. What's left to do is for me to finish the rug, hang it on the wall, and then decide about these pieces of art right here. I'm going to let this phase marinate, finish the rug, and then make my final decisions about where everything's going to go in the space. And maybe sometime between now and whenever all of that happens and I shoot the final reveal footage, I'll get a plant too. But I'm gonna leave it here for today, and I'll pick it up the next time I pick up this project, which will hopefully be tomorrow. Hey y'all, I got all set up this morning and I was about to start working, and then I realized that I didn't have any hot glue for the hot glue gun. I had this plastic bag that I'd been carrying around that I thought had hot glue in it, the sticks, and I opened it up and it had Sharpies in it, and I don't know where the hot glue is. So I had to go to the craft store to get hot glue, and the craft store is really close to the grocery store, and I needed groceries anyway. We needed our weekly groceries. So it turned into this whole long thing. I've been gone for hours, just got back, and now it's raining and it's kind of dark out, so I had to turn on the overhead light. I hope the lighting isn't too bad, and I hope that the rain isn't too loud, but I'm gonna go ahead and get this rug finished finally. Y'all, I think that that's pretty much it. I think that I'm done, or at least done for now. I've put the rug up, my very first rug, finished it, put it up, but it probably won't stay there for the whole time that we live in this house. I bet that I'll switch out some of the art, make some different decisions. You know, spaces are always evolving. But I've come to the end of this initial burst of making this space more cozy and colorful, making it really feel like my own, my little private place that I can go to and read, write, edit, just surround myself with the colors that inspire me and really make me feel like my most productive and creative self right now. So the tufting went pretty well. I've just taught myself to do it by watching videos of people doing it on the internet. I got almost all of my supplies from Tuft the World and some of them from Etsy, and I'll put the relevant links down below in case you're inspired from seeing me do it and you want to try it yourself. It's really exciting. Definitely takes a bit of an initial investment, you know, it adds up, and there's of course a learning curve. I think my next rug is going to be way better than this one, but I am definitely going to keep doing it. Sorry if I was out of focus that entire time. This camera, the vlogging camera, it struggles to focus. So the moral of the story, I think, is that you can't do it all in one day. I thought I was going to do all of this in one day 4 days ago, and it took time partly because I had to keep going and getting things. Like, it turned out we didn't have hot glue, it turned out we didn't have putty for the wall, and that would set me back like a quarter or a third or a half of the day. That happened basically every day of the 4 days that I've been working on my office. But I also took time because I needed time to make decisions. I had to think about the paint for a couple of days. I had to think about the color that I wanted for the curtains, the kind of fabric I wanted, and that totally makes sense in retrospect. I think it was a bit ambitious, and it has been delightful to be working on this project for all of these days, and it has been delightful to be sharing the process with you. I hope that you enjoyed watching this because I kind of want to do it again with another room. I feel like probably the next candidate will be the bedroom because it's like in that state of near completion. We have most of the pieces in place, and there is going to come a time in the next week or two where I'm going to make a big push to just like pull it all together over the course of a couple of days. If you're not subscribed, as always, I hope that you will consider subscribing, especially if you enjoyed this. But whatever you choose to do, don't forget to take extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.